You've been asking, praying, repeating the affirmations, waiting for the breakthrough. But still, nothing moves. The doors stay shut. The silence grows louder, and you start to wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why is it happening for everyone else, but not for me? How much longer do I have to wait? Your faith is real. Your heart is pure. Your desire is honest. But what if you're not out of blessings? You're just out of rhythm. Because when your rhythm is off, even the right doors won't recognize you. When your inner tempo is tangled in fear, doubt, or impatience, divine timing won't flow. You'll keep calling, but nothing answers. Not because you're being ignored, but because you're out of tune with your own answered prayer. So here's the spiritual promise. When you return to rhythm, the delay lifts, the fog clears, and everything you were chasing starts chasing you. You're not out of blessings, you're out of rhythm. Let's get you back in tune. You bless it or you block it. You cannot receive what you secretly resent. You may want the money, the house, the partner, the breakthrough, but if your heart carries bitterness toward the people who already have it, you are not in receiving mode. You are in resistance. You're calling it in with your words, but pushing it away with your emotions. And your emotions are the magnet. So let me ask you, have you ever asked for something, prayed for it, waited on it, only to see it go to someone else who seemed less deserving? Have you ever looked at someone else's success and whispered, "Must be nice," while something inside you felt tight, small, angry? You're not broken, you're just blocked. And you are not out of blessings, you are out of alignment. This is Florence's forgotten law, the one we rarely speak aloud. You cannot receive what you secretly resent. And today, if you're ready, you will learn how to clear the bitterness, bless what you desire, and finally walk into your good, freely, completely, and without delay. There is a divine law that governs this, the law of non-resistance. Florence Scovel Shinn called it the hidden key to manifestation. She taught, resentment and resistance tie you to the very thing you wish to be rid of. What is it? The law of non-resistance is the spiritual law that states, what you resist persists, and what you bless releases. In simple terms, if you emotionally fight what is, you give it power. But if you release it, accept it, or bless it, you allow it to transform. Why do people block it? Because deep down, we've been taught that judgment is protection, that if we call something wrong, we don't have to feel left out, that if we resent the rich, we won't feel the shame of being broke, that if we mock the beautiful, we won't have to feel invisible. But resentment is a rejection letter, and you are writing it to your own blessings. Florence said, fear and resentment are boomerangs. They return sooner or later with amazing accuracy. You cannot bless what you are secretly judging, and you cannot manifest what you will not bless. How to shift into alignment. Start with this. Bless what you envy. Release what you resent. Don't fake it, feel it. If you see someone in love, say silently, I bless that union. I approve of love. If you see someone living in luxury, say I bless their abundance. I am ready to receive my own. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to want their life, but you must approve of the frequency, or you will never hold it. As Florence taught, your word is your wand, and your silent word, your inner word, your emotional word, that is the true wand. Affirm with me now. I bless what I desire. I bless what I desire. I no longer resist the good of others. I no longer resist the good of others. I approve of success, love and prosperity. I approve of success, love and prosperity. My heart is open to receive. My heart is open to receive. What I bless, blesses me back. What I bless, blesses me back. I am no longer afraid of receiving. I am no longer afraid of receiving. You can't have it and hate it at the same time. You can't call it in with your mouth and curse it in your heart. There was a woman who wanted wealth. She prayed for it every day. She tithed. She affirmed. she visualized, but when she'd pass by women in fine clothing, or see friends buying homes, she'd shrink inside. They must be shallow, she thought. They must have had help. She judged them, and worse, she judged herself for not having the same. She said she wanted abundance, but emotionally, she was resisting it. She wasn't aligned with wealth. She was aligned with defense, with shame, with lack. One day in the stillness, she heard her own heart, and it whispered, "You're afraid of becoming what you resent." So she made a choice, not a loud one, not a dramatic one, but a real one. The next time she saw someone living freely, she said quietly, "I bless their freedom. I allow wealth. I permit joy." It didn't change overnight, but it began to shift, not outside, within. Within weeks, unexpected checks arrived. An old skill she'd buried brought her a client she received, and for the first time, she didn't feel guilty because she had made peace with receiving. Here's the truth most avoid: you cannot hold what your heart believes is wrong. And most people aren't blocked by fate or failure. They're blocked by resentment. They're not out of money. They're out of emotional permission. So let me speak to your soul now. Stop resisting what you want. Stop cursing what you desire. Stop rehearsing old wounds and calling it wisdom. You are not meant to resent the life you secretly long for. You are meant to bless it and become it. Every time you withhold love from what you envy, you slam the door on your own miracle. Every time you curse the rich, the loved, the joyful, you tell your subconscious, "This is not for me." So today, we rewire that belief. Today, we lift the spiritual embargo. We bless the love, we bless the wealth, we bless the beauty, the health, the voice, the light, because what you bless will bless you back. And that is not a hope, it is. You keep asking for more, but tell me honestly, are you prepared for more? Because what you prepare for, you attract. We live in a culture that's obsessed with desire, but allergic to readiness. We want the house, the opportunity, the life of peace, but we're not actually making space for any of it. We're asking God, the universe, or fate to send us something we haven't made room for in our minds, our emotions, or our habits. And here's the spiritual contradiction that hurts the most. You're not being punished, you're being paused, not by life, but by your own inner atmosphere. You attract what you prepare for, not what you fantasize about, not what you journal about once a month under a full moon, but what you're ready to hold, ready to receive, and ready to steward with grace. So the question is, are you living like it's coming, or are you still waiting like you don't believe it ever will? You don't have to wait on a sign. Your preparation is the sign. Your breakthrough begins the moment your life becomes ready for it. The divine law behind this is the law of assumption. One of Florence Scovel Shinn's core teachings, the law of assumption states, what you assume as true becomes true for you. In other words, your preparation, your posture, your spoken word, and even your tone, all of these are energetic declarations. They either invite the thing in, or they signal to life that you're not ready to hold it. What is? It's the understanding that your reality bends to your dominant belief, not your wishful thinking. Florence said it best, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. Why do people block it? Because we've been taught to wait and see. We wait for signs, we wait for proof, we wait for circumstances to change before we commit to believing. But the law doesn't work that way. Waiting is not receiving, it is delaying. And every time you say, "I'll believe it when I see it," you reject the law that says, "You'll see it when you believe." How do you shift into alignment? Start living as if, not pretending, but preparing. Set the table, clear the clutter, speak the end result. Wear the energy of the person who already has what you desire. Florence would say, speak the word and then do not deny it. The most dangerous phrase is, "I'll start once it happens." No, you start now. That is how it happens. You show life that you are ready by making decisions that agree with what you're asking for. Let your readiness be louder than your request. I am preparing for what I prayed. I am preparing for what I prayed for. I assume the highest good is already mine. I assume the highest good is already mine. I walk in faith, not fear. I walk in faith, not fear. My preparation is my magnet. My preparation is my magnet. What I expect, I attract. What I expect, I attract. I live like it's already done. I live like it's already done. She wanted the role of a lifetime, a dream job, the kind that would finally reflect the value she knew she carried inside. She applied over and over. Rejection, silence, more rejection. Until one day, a mentor said to her, "You're asking for the job, but your life is not aligned with it. Your energy is still living in your last disappointment." That one line cracked her open. She looked around. Her home was cluttered, her inbox filled with unread messages, her self-talk defeated, small, powerless. So she made one simple change. She began waking up as though the job had already been offered. She dressed like she was already on the team. She spoke to people with the confidence of someone already chosen. She prepared her portfolio again, but this time, she poured power into every sentence. Not desperation, not apology, power. Within 3 weeks, the role appeared. Out of nowhere, a better opportunity than she'd ever imagined. Why? Because she had become ready, and readiness is magnetic. Preparation is never wasted. It is faith in motion. Now let's talk about lack. Lack isn't a condition, it's a conclusion. A premature conclusion the mind jumps to when the present moment doesn't reflect your desire. We say, "I don't have enough, I'm not supported, it's not working." But that's not truth. That's interpretation. So let me ask you, what if what you call lack is just unseen abundance? What if your current emptiness isn't punishment, but preparation? Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Man sees first his failure, before success, and walks by sight instead of faith." You think you're broke, you're not. You're between deposits. You think you're unloved, you're not. You're being healed for the kind of love you're praying for. You think you're alone, you're not. You're being cleared for alignment. The divine law that governs this is the law of substitution. This law says, you cannot hold two contradictory beliefs at once, and whichever one you choose consistently becomes dominant. You must substitute the lie of lack with the truth of supply. That is your spiritual responsibility. As Florence said, the subconscious mind has no sense of humor and takes your every word literally. What is the law of substitution? Teaches that when a negative thought arises, fear, doubt, unworthiness, you must instantly replace it with its opposite. That's not denial, that's dominion. You speak the new truth until it overrides the old one. Why do we block it? Because we rehearse our conditions more than we affirm our power. We say what we feel instead of what we choose to create. And every time we speak lack, we anchor it further into our experience. How do you shift into alignment? Speak the truth, not the fact. Facts change. Truth is eternal. You say, "I walk in abundance." Even when your bank account echoes back a zero, you say, "I am supported," even when you feel alone. That's not delusion, that's dominion over illusion. Florence reminds us, never voice lack or limitation. Say it never. I no longer accept lack as my truth. I no longer accept lack as my truth. I am provided for by divine supply. I am provided for by divine supply. I walk in the atmosphere of abundance. I walk in the atmosphere of abundance. What I seek is already seeking me. What I seek is already seeking me. There is no delay in the divine mind. There is no delay in the divine mind. I choose faith, not fear. I choose faith, not fear. He felt forgotten, months of trying, doors closing, bills stacking. He believed he was in lack, but what he didn't realize was that life wasn't saying no, it was saying not yet, and not because he was unworthy, but because his belief system was still rooted in old conclusions. There's never enough. No one helps me. Things never work out for me. So life, in its wisdom, waited, not to punish him, but to protect him from repeating a life he had outgrown. When he stopped speaking lack and started walking as if he was already chosen, the tide turned. Support arrived in unexpected form. A call back he had forgotten about. became his next open door, and the greatest surprise, peace, before the evidence appeared, because he had stopped identifying with delay and started identifying with destiny. You are not in lack, you are in formation, and your life will begin to overflow the moment you stop calling it empty. What you prepare for, you attract. What you call lack becomes lack, and what you bless multiplies. Choose wisely, speak power, move forward. It's not coming, it's already here. You just have to be ready enough to see it. You say you want to receive, but do you believe you're worthy to hold it? No soul can hold what it secretly believes to be unfair. You might be doing the affirmations, you might be praying for the breakthrough, but deep inside, do you believe you're allowed to have it? Are you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally in agreement with the life you're calling in? Because here's the truth most avoid. You cannot receive what you resent, and you also cannot receive what you believe is unjust. If your heart believes money is greedy, power is corrupt, or love is painful, then every time those things draw near, your subconscious will silently reject them. You will find a way to delay, to block, to dismiss, not because you're cursed, but because you're in conflict. So I ask you now, what part of you is still arguing with the very thing you claim to want? You are not stuck because you are unworthy. You are stuck because you have not yet made peace with your next level. And the moment you do, life will no longer feel heavy. It will feel inevitable. This is where we call on the law of mental equivalence, a core spiritual law Florence Scovel Shinn taught in her wisdom. What is it? The law of mental equivalence states that you can only receive in the outer world what you are equal to in your inner world. If you do not feel safe, ready, or worthy of the thing, you will unconsciously resist it. Florence said, "Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight." And that preparation is not just physical. It is mental, emotional, and spiritual. Why do people block this? Because many carry shame around their desires. They were taught that wanting more makes them selfish, or that joy must be earned through suffering. So when abundance tries to arrive, it feels uncomfortable. They sabotage it, or delay it, or dismiss it. They don't know they're doing it, but they are. How do we shift into alignment? First, by removing the judgment from the thing you want. Say it with me now. There is nothing wrong with abundance. There is nothing shameful about love. I am allowed to want more. I am safe to hold joy. You create the mental picture. You clean the emotional space. You approve of the good, not later, not after you earn it, but now. This is how the soul gets into receiving posture. Florence would remind us again and again, man's only enemies are fear, resentment, and doubt. Let's cleanse them now. I am worthy of what I ask for. I am worthy of what I ask for. I make peace with love, power, and joy. I make peace with love, power, and joy. I am emotionally safe to receive. I am emotionally safe to receive. There is nothing wrong with my desire. There is nothing wrong with my desire. I hold no conflict with my good. I hold no conflict with my good. What I approve of, I now attract. She wanted peace, but she was used to chaos. She said she wanted ease, but she still felt safer in struggle. When things got calm, she'd get nervous. She'd wait for the other shoe to drop. And when it didn't, she'd drop it herself. She didn't trust ease, because she hadn't yet approved of it. Her nervous system wasn't aligned with peace. It was aligned with punishment. But no one saw that part. They only saw the hard work, the long nights, the empty wins, until one day she whispered to herself, "It doesn't have to hurt to be real." That one sentence cracked the wall wide open. She began creating new mental equivalents. She stopped expecting pain. She stopped praising struggle. She made peace with ease, and ease began to show up. The peace she was praying for had always been near. It was just waiting for her emotional approval. And now I speak to you. Bless what you long for. Approve of what you're attracting. The universe cannot override your inner resistance. It responds to it. And the moment you say, this is safe, this is fair, this is good, you move from hoping into holding. What you resent, you repel. What you approve of, you attract. You bless it or block it. There is no middle ground. And now we arrive at the most essential truth of all. Bless what you want, or it will never come near. Every blessing has an atmosphere, a frequency, and you must tune yourself to that channel, not just in your actions, but in your emotions. Many people ask for something, but in their hearts, they feel shame for wanting it. They speak blessings with their mouth, but curses with their energy. You cannot attract what you are ashamed of. You cannot hold what you won't approve of. And you will not receive what you secretly feel unworthy of. Florence Scovel Shinn reminded us, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later, with astounding accuracy. So when you say, I want love, but roll your eyes at romance. When you say, I want wealth, but judge the rich. When you say, I want freedom, but resent those who have it. You're sending out boomerangs of rejection, and those boomerangs always come back. The divine law here is the law of radiance and attraction. What you radiate becomes your invitation, and radiance is not a smile. It is an emotional vibration. It is the tone of your thoughts, the texture of your expectation. What is it? It is the understanding that your life mirrors your emotional state. What you project inward becomes what you attract outward. Why do people block this? Because it feels easier to blame the world than to bless it. It feels safer to mock the rich than to question your own beliefs about money. But blaming what you want is just emotional self-protection, and it does not bring you closer. It only postpones the good. How do you shift? You become a walking blessing. You bless those who have what you desire. You say, I'm glad they have it. I'm next. You say, love is beautiful, money is good, peace is natural. You train your heart to feel safe with the frequency you're calling in. Your word is your wand, and that wand is always working. Use it wisely. I now bless what I desire. I now bless what I desire. I release all bitterness and resistance. I release all bitterness and resistance. I make peace with success, love, and power. I make peace with success, love, and power. I am safe to hold what I seek. I am safe to hold what I seek. What I bless blesses me. What I bless blesses me. My energy is now a home for miracles. My energy is now a home for miracles. He used to envy the man in the corner office, thought he must have been lucky, or ruthless, or born into it. Every time he saw that man succeed, he would shrink inside, even as he prayed for a breakthrough of his own. Until one day someone told him, every time you curse what you want, you are rehearsing rejection. It hit him like lightning. He wasn't being blocked by the world. He was being blocked by his emotional posture. So he changed it. Quietly, daily, he started blessing that man. He said, I'm glad he's winning. I'm next. He stopped mocking what he wanted and started respecting it. And as he did, doors opened, conversations shifted, favor flowed, not because the world changed, but because he did. Your life moves at the speed of your emotional agreement. So ask yourself, what have you been rejecting, all while begging to receive it? Bless what you want, approve of what you seek, make peace with the good, and watch how fast it finds you.
You were never forgotten. You were never denied. You were simply being retuned, not to earn your blessing, but to recognize it. The rhythm of your life is not set by force. It is set by faith. When you align with divine timing, you stop striving and start, because nothing real is ever withheld. It is only delayed until you're ready to hold it without fear. So before you click away, Don't subscribe to me. Subscribe to your divine truth. Get in rhythm with your soul. Bless what you seek. Prepare for what you prayed for. And let life meet you where you finally believe you belong.